My name is Anna. I worked in Harrington Estate as the head maid for nearly 15 years. The house itself was the kind of place people slowed their cars to look at. White pillars standing tall, windows that glimmered when the sun hit them, manicured gardens that smelled of roses and jasmine. For most of the world, it was a mansion. For me, it was a place I woke up every morning and walked through like it was part of my own skin. I knew every room, every corner, every faint squeak in the wooden floors. I wasn't born into wealth, far from it. My father was a farmer, my mother a seamstress, and everything I knew about hard work came from them. When I was younger, I promised myself I'd find a stable job where I could send money back home and make them proud. Harrington Estate gave me that. The Harrington family, Mr. Edward, his wife, Mrs. Margaret, and their daughter Evelyn were my employers. But over the years, I started to think of them differently. Perhaps not as family, because I always remembered my place, but there was a closeness, a familiarity. Mrs. Margaret especially trusted me. She often said, "Anna, you're the only one who understands how this house runs. Without you, I'd be lost." I cannot tell you what those words meant to me. Every polished surface, every perfectly arranged bouquet, every quiet task. I poured myself into it, not just for wages, but because I cared. It was during the spring when everything changed. Mrs. Margaret owned a diamond ring. Not just any ring. It was an heirloom passed down from her grandmother. The kind of ring you didn't just keep in a box, but spoke of in hushed tones, with reverence. It wasn't only the large stone that glittered with fire under the chandelier light, but the history behind it. She once told me her grandmother wore it on her wedding day. Her mother, too. When Margaret turned 18, the ring became hers. She loved it so much that even when she wasn't wearing it, she asked me to keep its box polished, the velvet inside brushed clean. One morning, she called me upstairs to her bedroom. I remember her voice was calm but serious. "Anna," she said, standing by her dressing table, "I need you to keep an eye on the ring. I'll be attending a charity gala tonight, and I plan to wear it. Could you please bring it out from the safe?" Of course I did. I knew the combination. She trusted me with it. When I opened that little black safe tucked behind the wardrobe, the ring's velvet box was exactly where it should be. I took it out, placed it on the table, and watched her admire it in the morning light. "It's more than just a piece of jewelry," she whispered. "It carries our family's story." I nodded. I understood. But by that evening, everything would begin to unravel. After preparing her gown and fastening the necklace she chose to accompany the ring, I left her to dress. I checked the dining table, instructed the younger maids, and made sure everything in the estate was in order. Hours passed, and when the Harringtons left for the gala, the house felt unusually quiet. The next morning, Margaret returned home looking distraught. She rushed into her room, calling for me. "Anna, the ring, it's gone." My heart nearly stopped. "Gone? What do you mean?" "I left it on the dressing table last night, and now it isn't there." Her eyes were wide, frantic. I searched with her. We pulled out drawers, moved cushions, checked the carpet. Nothing. The velvet box was still there, but empty. Her voice turned sharp. Who else went into this room? No one, ma'am, I said quickly, my chest tightening. Only me, as always. She stared at me in silence, and for the first time in 15 years, I saw something new in her eyes. Doubt. Words spread fast. Mr. Harrington ordered all the staff into the sitting room. His voice was stern, cold. A ring of great value has gone missing. Until it is found, I will consider this theft. The younger maid shifted nervously. The butler kept his head down. I stood still, my hands clasped in front of me, though inside I trembled. They searched our rooms, our bags, our pockets. When it was my turn, I felt a lump rise in my throat. I had nothing to hide, but the very act of being suspected was enough to make my palms sweat. Nothing was found, but suspicion lingered. It was Evelyn, the daughter, who spoke what perhaps everyone else was thinking. It has to be Anna. She's the only one who knew the safe's combination, the only one Mother trusted enough. Her words cut me deeper than any blade. I turned to Margaret, desperate for her to defend me, to say something, anything, that would prove she still believed in me. But she remained silent, her lips pressed tight, her eyes unreadable. For the next week, life in Harrington Estate turned into something unrecognizable. The maids who once laughed with me in the kitchen now avoided me. The butler, who used to nod respectfully, now looked at me with suspicion. I felt eyes on me wherever I went. Every chore, every step through the hallways carried the heavy weight of doubt. I couldn't sleep. I lay awake each night, replaying every moment. Had I misplaced it somehow? Had someone taken it while I wasn't looking? The thought that anyone believed I could steal, that Mrs. Margaret believed it, burned inside me. Days passed. No ring, no answers, only silence where trust used to be. Then, one afternoon, as I was cleaning the library, Evelyn burst in, breathless. In her hand was the ring. "Mother! Father!" she shouted, running upstairs. I followed, my heart hammering. They gathered in the bedroom as Evelyn explained. She had found the ring lodged in the corner of her jewelry box. Apparently, in her hurry before the gala, Margaret had absent-mindedly placed it there while choosing earrings. It had slipped beneath the lining and gone unnoticed. For a long moment, no one spoke. Margaret took the ring in her hands, staring at it as though it had betrayed her. Then she turned to me. "Anna," her voice cracked. I accused you." I stood there, numb. All the nights of tears, all the whispered suspicions, all the dignity stripped from me in those days, none of it could be erased by those words. "I trusted you with everything," she continued softly, tears welling in her eyes. "And I failed you." Mr. Harrington cleared his throat, uncomfortable. Evelyn looked down, ashamed. But me, I only bowed my head. "I am glad you found your ring, ma'am." My voice was steady, though inside something had broken. In the weeks that followed, things returned to their routine. The house looked the same, the gardens bloomed as usual, and the air smelled of roses again. Yet for me, nothing was the same. A shadow had fallen over the Harrington estate, one that no amount of sunlight could chase away. Mrs. Margaret tried, in her way, to mend things. She offered apologies, gifts even. But trust, once cracked, never returns to the same shape. I did my duties quietly, respectfully, but the warmth I once felt in my chest every time she praised me was gone. And late at night, as I lay in my small room, I would whisper to myself, it wasn't the ring that was lost. It was something far more precious. Because the truth was simple. The Harringtons found their heirloom. But I, Anna, the head maid who gave 15 years of her life, had lost something I could never recover. Their trust in me had been shaken, and in return, my heart could never look at them the same way again. And perhaps that is the cruelest thing about betrayal. It never comes from an enemy. It comes from those you love, those you serve, those you would have protected with your very life.